Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review, delving into the big two. And it has been announced that the last week of December, Mike, you were wondering why you were getting so many books the past couple of weeks, especially this one.
Bad, yeah.
Well, the last week of the month, which the Wednesday is December 25th, which is Christmas, but comics are not coming out on the 25th, they're coming out on the 24th. And there aren't that many comics. As a matter of fact, we're only getting 2 comic books on the week of the 24th.
We should get more.
We'll work on something, don't worry. We'll have something special. We'll have the comic review and then we'll have something else. I'm not going to spoil what it is. You guys are going to have to stay tuned.
Yeah.
But it is the end of the year, so that's a little bit of a hint. News-wise, anything news-wise? No, we already covered the Siegel-Schuster
Yeah, that whole thing.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Get lives.
we know.
Okay, the books from this week were released on December 11th, 2013. Only 2 more weeks to go for December, and then we go into a new year.
Yep.
And I'm going to start off with a book that I didn't like, I didn't hate, but it interested me. And that's Marvel Knights Hulk. Apparently, Bruce Banner is in France. He doesn't know how he got to Paris. He doesn't know who he is. He just knows there's something bad inside of him.
Oh, it's a whole amnesia thing.
It is the amnesia thing. And he can't remember, but he has a little, like, flashback of himself as the Hulk. And apparently other people are attempting to either, I don't even know if they're there to kill Bruce Banner or if they're there to take Bruce Banner. But apparently there's this type of a shot. And they give themselves this shot and they become hulked out as well.
What's wrong with the Hulk? He has no hair. He's old.
That's not the Hulk.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, these are some hulked out mutants.
Oh, yeah. I just saw. Wow, I feel so dumb right now.
So they're like abominations, so to speak. And unlike the other Marvel Knight books, this is only a 4-part series. It's not 5 parts.
Oh wow.
So I'm intrigued enough to grab the next issue, possibly. Now, I was talking about this to several people, and they're like, the book was horrible. As you can see, it's the first book I picked up. So, bottom of the list, of course, but it interested me enough to say, I wonder if the Hulk will show up in the next issue. Obviously, if the Hulk doesn't show up in the next issue, I'm not going to get the last 2 issues, because who's going to want to read the last 2 issues?
Unless he shows up in the last issue 2, that leads into issue 3, which is
Still boring.
Okay. Good choice.
I don't know, but once again, this is one of those books where the next time it comes out, if I have too many books, this would be the book I put down.
Okay.
Because the Marvel Knight books just aren't holding a huge interest with me. They're just there.
And going into something else, Disappear Foes of Spider-Man, issue number 6. From what we saw last time, we're going to get, well, we actually find out some answers to what happened in the last issue. Mostly, it was talking about, with Boomerang, about, him just fooling around with this girl that he met from last issue. There is a bunch of artwork, which is really, it's drawn like the other issues. And what really interested me, I liked when they talked about Doom, when he wanted to take a portrait picture, because remember in the last issue we get to see how and why the picture was on the wall that Boomerang saw. And then, along with the Shocker, with everything else. The gang meets with Mr. Owl, and
Does he tell him how many licks?
oh no, he doesn't ask him how many licks does it take to the center of a Tootsie Pop. So he's just talking to them about offers that he wants to give them in exchange for simple information he's looking for, and there's lots of other stuff that if you want to read into it you can, but they do like more of a counter offer, which is what I think her name is Moth. I can't remember what they said. But
It is her name, Moth. I love how they used the picture of a
Oh,
dog
it is
to
Moth?
represent bitch.
oh yeah, and it was really interesting. Along with new characters that came in, that saw Boomerang. And it really focused more on him as well as the team. But in the end, there's someone that comes in the end that knows...
Daddy?
Yeah. That knows Janice. Which is the Moth. So I can't wait to see what's going to be of the next issue of how they're going to play that out. But it was an okay issue. Not good, not bad. I would say pick it up if you've been reading Superior Foes of Spider-Man and see for yourselves.
Wolverine and the X-Men issue 39. This is another great issue. Wolverine and Cyclops are forced basically to work together. Cyclops' powers are off whack. Wolverine no longer has a healing factor, and this is going to play into a huge story arc that's coming next year, and around this time next year it's going to be Mortal is the name of the story arc, so I don't want to even think about it. The second I see gray hairs on Wolverine, I'm done reading Wolverine for a while.
They gotta really stop relating it to the movie that recently came out.
But back at the school, the agents that are undercover for S.H.I.E.L.D. are learning all this different types of information about the ex-students. You see a little bit of Wolverine and Cyclops, by the way, almost getting along, but they're not. And actually, one of the agents, I won't say which one, actually is starting to think it's not so bad being a mutant. And this agent kind of is like, they don't want to turn on the Xavier School students. They actually want to be on this side, but they're kind of cowardly, so to speak. So they choose the human side instead of the mutant, and the students actually find out that they're agents from S.H.I.E.L.D. and yeah, things don't look good at the end of this issue. But I did like this issue. I like the artwork. I like the pacing. I like the dialogue a lot between Wolverine and Cyclops. The students, you know, I like how one of the agents is kind of questioning whether she wants to continue with the mission or just, you know, that the Xavier School is a really cool place. And this student actually experienced homework. And homework at the Xavier School is not what you think. It's actually fun. So, I like it. I like where it's going. And now that I know there's going to be a follow-up Wolverine and the X-Men, I'm okay with that. Apparently Marvel's afraid to hit anything over 100 at this point.
Exactly.
Now, this was my book, but I read it, but I didn't really too much... I read it, but I didn't read it fully. He had more time than I did, so he's going to do it.
Alright, and that is Inhumanity, The Awakening, issue number 1. I found this comic book to be a very touchy comic book, you know, on a specific character in this comic book. Like, really
this was
all
after
about...
the end of Infinity 6, where the... I forgot what it was called, but the bomb went off, and now, all the Inhumans are on. Yeah, all the Inhumans are cocooned on Earth.
The only thing I don't like was what was at the top, where they were doing the hashtag.
It was a Twitter. Yeah, it was a Twitter.
I mean, I'm not bashing Twitter or anything. I'm just saying it was kind of annoying to see the box. I mean, they're not.
It was
really
too much
necessary
weight. This was a heavy dialogue. I mean, you just showed this page. This is one of the pages where it's heavy dialogue, plus the blue boxes, which are kind of like Twitter. It was ridiculous when it came to dialogue.
And there was an emergency where this girl was going to kill herself, and, you know, Pixie was concerned about it, and the rest said, no, we can't do this, we have to do the mission, but
this involves
they
students.
just ignored it.
This involves students from Avengers Academy as well as the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning.
Yeah. And she didn't ignore it, so they all transported and saved the girl. And talks about her story. Artwork is really nice, this artwork. And she talks about her origin story, about she was killing herself because she had superpowers, and at first, you know, they didn't like she had powers, but then she got used to it after a while, like everything got better, but then kids were bullying and making fun of her. Her name was Fiona, that's her name. And then there's this other guy who talks about his powers, saying that...
He was part of Avengers Academy.
Right, and he was explaining, you know, being immune's not all bad, and that's what I like about this story. It's like saying, You shouldn't feel like that because, you know, we all go through the same thing. And that's what it was really, you know, that's why I say it's a touchy book, because it's really all just talking about that. But then in the end, Fiona wants to go back to see what her brother's up to. And, well, let's just say on the news...
her brother makes front page.
Yeah, front page news, so to say. And I actually liked it after reading this. So, I don't know if I'll do an in-depth comic review of it unless someone else did it already. But if not, I'll think about doing it to explain more. But I really recommend you get that book. It's very touchy and very amazing read. Just the hashtags have to go away.
Jumping into the Ultimate Universe, Cataclysm Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 2. Now finally they're acknowledging that Galactus is in the Ultimate Universe. Cloak and Dagger try to stop Galactus at the beginning of this book. Things don't go well. Miles is fighting alongside the Avengers to try to save as many people as they can, as well as to fight against Galactus. And no matter what, they can't stop Galactus. There's also flashbacks to Ultimatum 2 years ago. I'll show other artwork, don't worry. But there is actual flashbacks to where all the characters were during Ultimatum, where Dagger was during Ultimatum, where Miles was, and Miles actually makes a huge decision in this book at the end of the book, and he reveals himself to somebody at the end of this book, and oh my god, this was spectacular. The ending leaves you like, I gotta wait till next year now to find out what happened.
Now you know how I feel.
But this was a really good, out of the 2 Cataclysm books, and I read a little bit of Ultimates, which I actually picked up.
I was going to mention that.
But this was spectacular. I loved it. The artwork is, as always, great, and the writing is spectacular. Can't wait to see Miles in the 616 universe.
Yep. And like Chris said before, Cataclysm Ultimate Comics, The Ultimates, issue number 2. As he said, yes, this issue actually picked up in the world of Galactus in this.
I want to get that.
And yeah, they're trading cards that he's
Marvel Now,
obsessed
next
over.
year, January 21st, they come out. I'm going to try to get a box.
And what I liked about this issue was, you know, not only is the other people in it, the Punisher's in this as well, along with Stature, Nick Fury, and Hercules even. I couldn't believe he was in there, but that was awesome to see. And they're trying to stop Hulk, and he's just smashing people. Him and Hercules was really, you know, an epic fight. And then it gets into the Reed Richards Fallen City of Tomorrow. Artwork is really amazing. I love the artwork in this comic book. And it's really Dr. Wilson talking to Tarleton talking to Dr. Wilson. And he's just telling them about, you know, the device Reed Richards created and the service as well. And it's all hail Galactus, like we saw in the last issue. And everything's just destructive, lots of action-packed and fighting and everything. You know, and there's this thing that goes around of the infection that these little robotic creatures do. I can't remember what they were. But basically, if they bite them, then they turn into the robotic creatures, and things really just don't
they
look
get
so well
assimilated by Galactus.
Yeah, and as the issue keeps on continuing, things just don't look so good. And Tarleton tells Dr. Wilson that he has no choice but to join if all this goes to plan. So I gotta see how they're gonna get out of this. But if you want to know what the infection is and the whole rest, which I don't want to give away in this review, definitely check it out. Definitely picked up from the first issue, and really looking forward to seeing what happens next in the Ultimates world.
Next we have Nova issue number 11. Nova, for those of you that saw the end of Nova issue 10, Minor spoiler if you didn't see that yet, so you might want to skip this book until I put it down. But Nova is not blind. Apparently he's seeing a star chart or a map. And that map is showing him all the spots where a Nova died. Also, Sam goes back to school in this issue. And let's just say going back to school is never easy. And he actually goes to one of the points on the map where one of the dead Novas are. And he finds out how that Nova died. And he tries to reach out for any other Nova. And unfortunately, there's just no Novas left. And then we get introduced to an antagonist that's going to be coming probably by the next issue.
Yeah, he looks like it.
So, really good stuff, really good story. Lots of dialogue, left out a lot of dialogue on purpose because if you're not reading Nova, you really should be. Nova has been a spectacular read thus far. I've been loving Nova.
Yeah, you always tell me good things about Nova. And good thing he's not really blind like what we saw in the last issue. It was just something else.
And now for the next 2 weeks, we have double ups of this book. Amazing Spider-Man issue 700.2. This is my book of the week. This is my book of the week. For those of you that listened to my vlog before Christmas part 2, this is the kind of book I'm talking about. This is it right here. This is here. This is the book I'm talking about. And actually, Mike Spiderslayer wrote me after listening to my vlog before Christmas, and he said, after you read 700.2, you're going to get that feeling, and you do. Spider-Man is, well, Pete is on his way to Aunt May's because he has a feeling something's wrong. And on his way, just like we thought, he sees the burning building and he saves the people there, and then he starts across the Brooklyn Bridge and he sees somebody trapped there and he tries to help them. I mean, and he's pushing himself to the limits, to the point where he's actually hallucinating.
Oh, okay. I thought that was real at first.
But the best part in the world, the best part with these 2 pages with Uncle Ben.
Always the best. Always.
Love it. This is what I'm talking about. And Uncle Ben guides Pete spiritually, let's say, to his house, his aunt's house. Pete runs in. He finds his aunt on the floor. He helps her. He fixes up the house, and basically he gets there just in time because Lord would have known maybe Aunt May wouldn't have survived the night otherwise. And then I'm not going to spoil the very end or the ending, but this was a spectacular read. This book deserves Book of the Week. I loved it, and this is the Spider-Man I missed, the Spider-Man I love, and hopefully one day, very, very soon, we'll be able to see again. 5 out of 5 stars. If you guys aren't reading the 700.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, now I know a lot of you are skeptical because it's a .1 or a point number. Don't be skeptical in this case. In this case, this is really worth the money because it's like reading an Amazing Spider-Man issue.
Or if they got used to the whole Doc Ock being Spider-Man superior, because I should follow him. And there's that one too, actually.
700.3. New story arc. Spider-Man versus, I forgot what this guy was called, and you didn't read this issue probably.
I didn't have the time to read it, and I feel really bad because I really want to look at it. Well, I want to hear. Is that Human Torch?
No, it's not Human Torch. Firebrand.
Oh.
And there's actually a funny reference in here, and Spidey's actually talking to Firebrand, and he's like, let's face it, you're no Doc Ock. And then he says, maybe not, but that crazy old man can he do this? And he actually burns Spider-Man really badly to the point where there's a huge explosion. And then out of nowhere, this black ambulance shows up, picks him and Peter Parker up. And both of them get sent to the hospital. And Pete's recovering, and he gets this feeling that there's something wrong with the hospital. And then later on, when you get to like the middle of the book, we find out it's not a regular hospital, it's a supervillain hospital.
Oh no.
And he's basically among all supervillains who are talking against S.H.I.E.L.D. and Spider-Man and everything. And then at the end, the Doctor figures out because Spider-Man's web shooters were attached to his body, and the Doctor took it off. Pete's arm, and he figures out that it's Spider-Man. So in the next issue, now we get to see what's gonna happen next.
Oh, what's that?
Backup story with Black Cat.
Oh.
Not with the real Spider-Man. That's not Spider-Man. For those of you that think it's Black Cat and Spider-Man, it's not. It's actually Black Cat and an undercover agent. Artwork was okay for the Black Cat story, but once again, it feels like, yeah, it's an add-on. It really is an add-on. It's basically Marvel's way of saying, you know what, we didn't want to finish the story all in one go, so you have to wait for 700.4. Here's a Black Cat mini story for you in the meantime. Another great story. Loved it. Can't wait to read the next issue. Maybe it's just because I'm hard up for some Peter Parker work. You know, I miss Peter Parker.
You've seen the light.
But I've always missed Peter Parker.
Got that. Just continue.
So I love this issue and I highly recommend it. With that, we're done with Marvel. We have a couple minutes left, so let's jump into a few books really quickly. The quick books. Smallville, Season 11, Alien issue number 1. As of this point on, instead of it going in numerical order, from now on, the digital first books are going to be Smallville, the name of the episode, the issue number of it, and then it's going to say Season 11 continues in this series. So this is basically Season 11, issue number 20, but it's part 1 of Alien.
When will Season 12, out of curiosity, when it reaches 24, it goes Season 12?
Maybe it'll go to 20, maybe it'll go to 12.
Yeah, because...
Or maybe next year it'll go to 12.
Maybe next year, yeah. It's just wondering.
In the beginning of the book, we get to see Hiro Okamura, who is actually Toy Master. Superman has his feats at the beginning of the book. We don't get to see Superman too much in this book. It turns out that the Monitor, from the very beginning of Season 11, made a reappearance, a crash landing, so to speak, in Russia. And Lex Luthor finds out about it, and he wants to go to Russia. And Chloe comes back, and she's looking very pregnant, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all trying to figure out what's going on with the Monitor. Clark Kent actually goes, as Clark Kent, with Lex Luthor to learn more about the Monitor, because he knows Lex is going for the Monitor. Lex is like, no, that's not true. I'm not going there for that reason. And I'm not going to give away the ending, because the ending was awesome, but...
They make Superman look, and Clark Kent look like Tom Wellings, actually.
They do.
I have to admit that.
And we also get to see the Rocket Red Brigade.
Oh.
So Rocket Red is going to be in the next issue also.
That should be interesting.
This was an awesome read. Loved it. Always love reading Smallville, but this is old news for you guys because you're already in the next part 2 of Alien. Probably right dead center at this point because usually this book came out at the beginning of last month, so the stories in this book, or the 4 parts in this book, are old, but to me they're new, and I'm glad to see Smallville is still around in one shape.
That should have been aired on TV.
Why
couldn't they put this on TV?
I don't know.
I don't understand that.
Really quickly, Huntress, Power Girl, World's Finest, issue 18. We're still in the middle of Power Girl's powers being on the blink, so to speak. She just crash landed on Earth. And she's still trying to get a handle on her powers, and that's not working. We're in the dead middle of a story arc, guys, so I'm not going to really review too much of this book. However, I will start reviewing this book once the next story arc comes up. And I believe the next story arc is the crossover with Superman, or Batman Superman. Unfortunately, guess who's going to be back on Batman Superman? Jay Lee. So, just throw it out there. World's Finest, issue 18.
Did you show artwork?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I forgot. Looks like...
Justice League 3000, issue 1.
Really?
It was horrid. No thank you. No thank you. Cadmus cloned the entire Justice League of America.
Let me see that.
Cadmus cloned the entire Justice League of America, except they have no memories of their previous lives. Superman and Batman are basically are rivals on the team. Flash isn't funny. Wonder Woman's bloodthirsty, and Hal Jordan's the only one that's kind of at least a little bit some artwork, by the way.
Huh?
And Hal Jordan's the only one that's still a little, that's kind of a little bit like his character. Batman has no incentive, no motive to being Batman. It's just, no. No. And
Even I'm looking at.
And the
saying
Wonder
no.
Twins are in there a little bit. There's a Wonder Twin reference. No.
Yeah.
I see exactly where this book is going, and no. No, I'm done. Nope. Issue 1 is more than enough for me. The artwork is really great, but
Superman looks crazy in this book. Like he keeps going after.
He has like a humongous ego
against Batman.
No, he has a humongous ego in general. He's like, oh, I'm Superman. I always save the day. I'm gonna save the day because I'm the best superhero out there. I'm Superman. No.
Yeah, get
done.
It,
no. Don't. No. Didn't like it. And I saw a few people that did like it. I honestly. Maybe
it's
if you
just
really
their
love
personality.
the
Their personality is horrible.
Yeah, no. And
we'll see how Justice League Canada goes. That's still coming out, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna see how that.
Green Lantern Corps 26. Again, it's continuing from the recent story arc in Green Lantern. There is a fight, a small fight between John Stewart and Hal Jordan, where John Stewart's like, I'm not going against anybody. We can't police our own, everybody's rings. We're going to be considered the bad guys and whatnot. And basically he's just under stress, and Hal kind of like consoles John a little bit. And then there's a whole other story arc with the Durlans, because the Durlans are actually influencing.
Hal Jordan was this guy that's not so...
The way they're writing it is... So the Durlans are actually screwing around with the Green Lantern Corps. They're actually on Oa, by the way. Here's some... Not Oa, I'm sorry. They're on Mogo, because Mogo is now the new home of the Green Lantern Corps. And the Durlans are actually making a plan against the Green Lanterns on Mogo. So that's going to be very interesting. But really, as fast as I explained this story to you is as fast as I read it. It was a point A to point B story again. I'm sorry, guys. That's basically... I left out a bit of the story about one of the other Lantern Corps members who has to go back to his home planet. But even there, the dialogue is very scarce. And basically the main idea is the Durlans are screwing with the Green Lantern Corps. And they're basically going to destroy the Green Lantern Corps in any way possible. The end. So Green Lantern Corps is going to be working very tightly with Green Lantern. I'm trying to get a couple of books out this way. When we come back from commercial break, we won't have too many. And as a matter of fact, that's what we're about to do now. So guys, we're going to take our commercial break. When we come back, we'll finish DC Comics and round out the week. So stay tuned, and we will be right back after these messages. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. We are going into another book that kind of let me down this week, and that's Superboy issue 26. For those of you that read Krypton Returned, or The Return of Krypton, or whatever you want to call it, Superboy died.
Yeah.
So, enter the new Superboy, John Lane Kent, who basically wants to kill all metas. He gets into a fight with Cassie, and then he figures out that nobody knows that he's John Lane Kent, that everybody believes he's Con-El. So he decides he's going to use this to his advantage and pretends to be Con-El. And I don't know if he's sick or something, but he ends up fainting at the in the middle of the book after a little bit of a fight with Cassie. He is a lot stronger than Superboy, and you see that in this issue. He can actually access full spectrums within a building he's in. He can turn himself mostly invisible. And then he actually does kill a metahuman in this. And apparently he gets stronger after he kills the metahuman. And he finds out about his DNA being from Superman, which he knew already. And then he wants to find out his human half, which the machine can't tell him. But then he finds something else out. And it's about Con-El. Or Mon-El, sorry, not Con-El, Mon-El. And, yeah.
Something tells me this does not look good.
Yeah,
the situation I'm in.
Oh no, Khan. Sorry, it is Khan. And he finds out about another team, and it says next issue is going to be big. So apparently, the new Superboy is not a good guy. He's a bad guy. He wants to kill all the metahumans. And now it's going to basically be... I don't know. So now it's basically going to be evil Superboy parading around, pretending to be the good Superboy, while trying to kill metahumans. But will he gain a conscience, or will he just be the cold-hearted, evil bastard that he is right now?
Maybe he might be evil, but then as the issue goes on,
I think Harvest needs to be taken out of his mind, and then he'll be fine.
And I was gonna just say that too. Then he'll be himself again.
Nightwing issue 26, next story arc. Mimic versus Nightwing is in this issue, and also we get a little bit more. Dick Grayson talking with, I forgot his name, I'm going to get his name now. Dick Grayson just dealing with his personal life, and also, I want to see what the person's name is. Maxwell, who used to be a superhero, who actually hates all capes. Dick actually meets him in this issue, and when they start talking about capes, he gets pissed off and walks away, and he's like, Maxwell is a very complicated case. He has a huge thing against masked people. And then we get a second meeting between Nightwing and Mimic. And it turns out Mimic was created by another Batman supervillain.
Who the... Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying who it was, not in this issue. Again, felt like a really quick read. I felt like I got from point A to point B rather quickly. Very little story involved, and I'm getting so sick of this Mad magazine and 3 pages of advertisements. Do you guys understand? I mean, this is a $2.99 book, but they're adding all this. Is like a little extra magazine, and it's annoying. It's a nice cover, though, by the way. If you took the blood off Dick's mask, it would be a really nice cover. It was an enjoyable issue, but once again, I felt like I went through it like super fast.
So some books
which is kind of ridiculous. Leave it up to you guys. Batgirl's another book I read through fast, but it was spectacular. Gail Simone, first of all, this is Batgirl issue 26. Gail Simone has done an amazing job with this series. Batgirl, Inspector Gordon, it all gets settled here, and the cover doesn't lie. Barbara wants to show Jim, her father, that it's really her under the mask, and Jim actually turns around and says, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm a good cop. I'm not going to arrest you for now. I realize, Barbara was trying to explain to him, I saved your wife. I was concussed, I was hurt, and that's why the batarang hit your son. And it turns out his son is still alive anyway, and when he finds out that he's going to have less to be upset about Batgirl with. And he actually does say one thing, though. He's like, you aren't welcome here ever. So will Batgirl be leaving Gotham at some point? Probably. Especially because Dick did it. But until then, we have Batgirl, all the way back at the beginning, we have Batgirl versus the... I forgot what they were called.
But I do have to admit about the artwork being really amazing.
The artwork's awesome. I forgot who they were called, but a group that was sent in by Nightfall to kill Jim Gordon. And in the end, because Batgirl... This was an action-packed issue, by the way, also. But because Batgirl basically warded them off, Nightfall actually called her team back. This was a spectacular issue. I love it. I can't wait for the next issue of Batgirl. Gail Simone knows her Batgirl, and it's spectacular. 5 out of 5 stars. Really good stuff. Whereas in Batman issue 26, it's back down to $3.99, and the story still feels like a $3.99 story.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a way that, okay, it's all Bruce Wayne basically, the whole issue. There's one scene in the beginning where Jim Gordon tells Bruce Wayne he's under arrest, and we find out what that means later on in the book. We jump back and find out that Luke Fox wasn't with Dr. Carl, also known as, oh shit, what was his name?
They really got to put character indexes in these comic books. Just
Yeah,
for
but they
us
just
readers
said
to
it.
make it easy. Who are we talking
Death? Death.
Yeah.
And Death finds out that Bruce Wayne's back. He makes Bruce Wayne the target. Luke tries to save Bruce. Things don't work too well. However, Jim Gordon shows up to save the day for a little bit. And I have no idea what this scene's about.
Oh.
And Bruce ends up with a fractured skull from the meeting between him and Death. And Jim Gordon actually has him handcuffed in the hospital because he wants to talk with Bruce. And then we get more of a flashback about what's going on and how Bruce feels, why he feels the police, the Gotham City Police Department are corrupt. And he's right. At least in this point in time, he's right. And there's some really seriously good artwork. Bruce actually takes the gun away from Jim Gordon at one point and says, "This is all I saw at the end of that night. And this is the view I saw when my parents died and you people weren't around. You were too busy getting paid off to turn the other way." There's another note from the Riddler. We don't know what it is. And then finally Batman shows up in the last 4 pages and then gets gunned down possibly at the end of the issue. To be continued. We all know Batman didn't die because he's obviously in the present, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. But I believe this is the Pendulum issue of the second chapter. Maybe there's 2 more to go. I'm not too sure. It was an okay issue. This, however, was really good. Superman Wonder Woman issue number 3. Superman and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's trying to find the perfect present for Superman for Christmas, which I thought is awesome, and she figures it out.
Also, she's not the kind of person that we've seen.
No. Also, Cat Grant finally finds the picture of Superman and Wonder Woman kissing at the very beginning of the issue. Zod is now on Earth. There is this amazing dialogue between Superman and Batman here. From the last issue, Superman absorbed a ton of solar radiation. So now he's like super overcharged and he's sitting there on the moon and he's shaking and everything. And Bruce is actually, they have a nice, it felt like a brother-to-brother talk. And then there's an alert and Superman decides he's going to go for it. And that alert is actually Zod. Now, Superman hasn't met Zod yet. This is the first time he actually meets Zod. However, the Justice League of America, because they're still the JLA for now, gets there first. Except they're calling themselves Argus. And there's actually a little box here that says for Argus...
Where?
I'm looking for it. Give me a minute.
What's the issue that
I
didn't
just
come
missed
out
it.
yet?
This story takes place before the Justice League learned of the existence of Argus Counter-Strike Team. So Argus shows up, and they want to find out what Zod's about, like where he came from and what he's doing there. And it took Superman and Wonder Woman to actually subdue Zod long enough to get him to actually talk in English. This is heavy dialogue, and Superman doesn't know Zod is evil yet. So, and Superman, like in the conversation he was having with Batman, he knows very little to nothing about his people. Enter Zod, and now he's like, oh, I now have a chance to learn a little bit more. And also we find out that Zod wasn't alone, that Fora actually was behind him somewhere, but they can't track her on Earth yet. And the end of the book is basically the reaction to the beginning of the book. And that face on Superman at the end where he's like, they know. And we all know what they know. They know about Superman and Wonder Woman being together.
Mm-hmm.
I left out a ton of stuff on purpose. This is my second favorite Superman book. No, third, I'm sorry. My first favorite's Adventures of Superman. My second favorite is Unchained. And my third favorite is Superman Wonder Woman. Liking the stuff in this book. And now that Zod's here, Superman Wonder Woman might creep its way up to second place.
Alright, that says a lot.
So, that does say a lot. That does. Because I was not really for this book at the beginning because Superman and Wonder Woman, I feel,
Well, it was
should
really
together
Wonder
be Superman and Lois Lane.
Yeah, but it was really Wonder Woman with her behavior towards Superman. But maybe they heard you.
Maybe they did. Suicide Squad issue 26, we find out the origin of King Shark's father. Turns out the person she released, Mr. Marg, or whatever his name is, I gotta get his name.
Oh, we saw this from the last issue, I think.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find out what his name is. It's King Shark's father, Camo. And at first Camo actually fights his son because he doesn't want to be usurped from being the king of his people. And Amanda Waller actually promises him that he won't be usurped, that she'll actually send him back to where he belongs if he helps her fight against the Thinker. However, Harley Quinn already comes back to Belle Reve with OMAC, and the Thinker's already downloaded his mind into OMAC. There's a scene between Jim Gordon and Harley Quinn as well, which leaves Harley with another love complex, so to speak. And we find out that the team, the Suicide Squad team that's in the North Pole, aren't actually dead. There's your big spoiler for this book. So Deathshot's already preparing when he gets out of there who's going to kill first, and I know exactly who it is. So that was your quickie for Suicide Squad. I know a lot of people don't read Suicide Squad. Did you read Justice League?
No, I didn't even...
Justice League 25 focuses mainly, this time,
maybe I did.
This time instead of Justice League focusing on Ultraman, it focuses on
I did.
Owlman's origin.
I read this.
And how Owlman actually killed his little brother Bruce and his parents. And the killer was actually Alfred, but basically Thomas and Alfred
this story
planned
was weirdly told in Owlman's case when I read this.
The artwork in this book, though, is really awesome. And Owlman just wants to get Dick back on his side, and he wants to use Dick. He wants Dick to help him. I love this page right here where it shows the double size. I know that Dick's going to probably die by the end of this story arc, and I hope I'm wrong, but Night Owl basically says you have a choice. Either help me win this fight, or let Ultraman win and the world is destroyed. So already Owlman is planning against Ultraman, and they're not even there for more than a week yet, or more than a couple of months, and already Owlman has a plan to go against Ultraman, and he's going to use Nightwing.
Didn't he actually have plans to go after Ultraman in the past issues when he talked to Wonder Girl about it?
And the funny thing is, he wants to work with Dick. He lost his Dick Grayson in his world thanks to the Joker. So he actually gets Dick to willingly help him fight against Ultraman. And I thought this issue was awesome. However, and this is the part where I think this is going to lead into Nightwing's death, Superwoman heard the whole conversation between Night Owl and Nightwing.
Wonder Girl.
No, Supergirl heard Owlman and Nightwing's conversation about what Owlman is planning against Ultraman, and guess who one Supergirl woman loves? Ultraman. So of course she's gonna tell Ultraman, and I have a feeling Dick Grayson's gonna be in a bunch of trouble real soon. But I love the book. Really loved it.
That one I didn't read.
This you didn't read. Justice League of America issue 10. Star keeps falling into her own mind, her own flashbacks, but she's getting beaten up in reality by all these supervillains that found her and basically are wiping the floor with her because she's stuck in her own head with her flashbacks. And John Jones apparently at the moment is bonded to her, so she has his powers and he has her powers. And finally, when John Jones snaps Stargirl out of it, she's able to fight against everybody except for Deathstroke, who's way too strong, and she escapes. And then she finds a place where she can actually sit quietly, and John Jones could find a way out of her. And he actually does get out of her, And Star, though, says, I don't want to be bothered with helping the Justice League. I want to make sure my family's safe, and that's all that matters to me. And she flies off. But John Jones makes the realization about that prison where the Justice League are in. And that prison isn't exactly any normal prison. It's Firestorm. And he's counting down. So that's leading into one hell of a next issue. I'm loving Justice League of America as much as I'm loving Justice League right now. When it changes to Justice League Canada, however, then we'll talk.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that one's going to be. Forever You and Constantine, issue number 9. The cover is misleading, is what I'm going to say. Way misleading. He does not fight the crime syndicate. However, Constantine is in even a bigger battle. But before we get into that, it's really John Constantine who's looking for Zatanna, and where they've left us off where Chris, not you Chris, this Chris,
Chris became,
in the Fan
Blight.
Stranger story, became the Blight, and it's just a whole big destruction, and they're just trying to find a way of how to stop him, and really that's what the whole thing is. But somewhere else there's just a whole big thing of a different story of something that's really with Zargon, and if you want to see what it is, you can read this for yourself or check my in-depth comic review on Dark Avenger Inc. But the artwork is really like very like I could see that this is definitely a Constantine comic book, the way of the artwork. Not saying it's bad, it's really actually pretty good. And you know how they are with Constantine, like he's old, this and that. But then Fam Stranger is trying to say, you know, Chris, I know you're in there, like, you need to hear me out because he's getting possessed and they want to kill him. But Fam Stranger said he's human and, oh, I thought it was a timer. And they're saying we can't do that, he's human, you know. So we're kind of seeing, I'm seeing Fam Stranger, like, sometimes soft and sometimes not so soft. So, you know, it's like a back and forth thing, but Blight just goes out of control, and in the end, it does not look good for John Constantine. And it's to be continued in Trinity of Sin Pandora, issue number 6. And there is in memory of Nick Hardy, who was shown.
Who died this year.
Who died this year. And that was really sad to see that. So, hearts go out to you, and may you rest in peace. But definitely check out Constantine.
Final book this week, and it is a Forever Evil tie-in miniseries, and it is Forever Evil Arkham War issue number 3. This was spectacular. In this issue, I'm going to go through a little bit of it. This issue opens up with Scarecrow having the upper hand because basically he has Mr. Freeze holding all of the Talons, while Killer Croc actually takes Scarecrow back to Wayne Tower. Scarecrow actually says, you know what? You don't belong underground anymore. You belong here. I'm getting tired of this place. You can have it. So he basically gives Wayne Tower to Killer Croc.
Oh.
My mind completely blanked for a second there. Bane is still out in the streets fighting the Arkham City inmates, and still fighting for Blackgate to be to rule Gotham City. We find out that he's still working with Penguin Bane. He actually brings in somebody that Penguin wanted to be brought in, and Penguin gives him more information about how basically the Arkham people aren't scared of him. Batman's not around anymore, so they can't. There's nothing to fear. And Bane makes a realization that Batman is the only thing that the people fear. So then Batman is what he'll become. And Bane actually becomes
Batman? I never thought I'd see that.
Oh, and it gets better because then his first target is Killer Croc.
I figured that too.
And twice he lifted people up over his shoulders like this. And twice he didn't break their backs. He just tossed them.
But he breaks them. That's what he's supposed to do.
So Bane is now Batman. He's using the symbol of fear, so this way he can strike fear into the Arkham inmates, and he's up short because he's still looking for the Talons. But in the end, he does kill. He doesn't kill. He basically tosses Killer Croc. Spoiler alert here. Out of Wayne Tower, the top of Wayne Tower. So Blackgate is slowly taking over. Will the Arkham inmates win this war? Will Blackgate win this war? We'll neither win this war because we all know Batman's going to show up by the last issue and everybody loses then.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving this series. This series and Rogue's Rebellion are my favorite tie-in miniseries to Forever Evil, and I know you read Argus.
Yes, I do, and I'm hoping...
And you're reading Blight?
Yeah, I'm reading Argus,
Blight
with the stories that are in it. Forever Evil, I read.
You read it, but I read it.
But you review it, yeah.
I read the Forever Evil, I read Arkham War, I read Rogue's Rebellion, and I'm reading Suicide Squad until we break the tie. And then the Justice League books we both read.
Well, I read Dark. Justice League Dark. You read Justice League and Justice League America.
So with that, guys, that's it for this week. Let's round out the week because I'm exhausted. I'm ready to fall asleep.
So, see you later, guys.
So, rounding out this gigantic week, we have Forever Evil Arkham War, issue 3 of 5, I believe. Awesome, definitely something to check out. Constantine, issue 9.
Great issue, can't wait to see what happens next in Pandora.
Justice League of America, issue 10, as well as Justice League, issue 25. Both books are awesome. Last week of the month, we're actually getting Justice League 26 because this book was late. Suicide Squad, issue 26 was okay. Do you need it? It's up to you guys. Superman, Wonder Woman 3, highly recommend you guys check it out. Batman 26, it feels like a really quick read this book was. Hopefully things will improve a little bit. Batgirl, issue 26, another fast read, but awesome. Definitely something to read. I highly recommend it. Nightwing, issue 26, same thing, quick read, but it's up to you guys. Superboy 26, I'm not liking this new Superboy, and I have this itching feeling in the back of my head, in the back of my neck, that I'm going to end up dropping this series real soon. So it's up to you guys. Green Lantern Corps 26 is up to you guys. Justice League 3000, issue 1, I did not like it at all, and I know for a fact Kat didn't like it either. I have no idea about everybody else on Ink, but it's up to you guys at this point. It is a number 1, so everybody should try number 1 out. World's Finest, issue 18, up to you guys. Smallville, if you love Smallville, you'll be getting this comic. If you don't, you won't. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 700.3 and 2. Both points, freaking spectacular. 100% highly recommend you get both point books, and then come back and get point 4 and 5, and go back and get point 1 if you didn't. Nova issue 11 was another great book. Definitely recommend it. Ultimate Comics, Cataclysm, Ultimate Comics, Ultimates number 2.
Definitely picked up from the first issue and can't wait to see what happens next in the Ultimates universe.
And then Cataclysm, Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man issue 2. Really great, highly recommend you check it out. Inhumanity Awakening, issue 1.
Touchy story, but please,
no more Twitter.
Hashtags, please.
Wolverine and the X-Men issue 39, definitely picked up, really liking this issue. High in the action-packed, and it's fun with the dialogue between Wolverine and Cyclops. Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue number 6.
Pretty good issue. I'll be looking into the next issue as well.
And Marvel Knights Hulk has me intrigued, but if I'm getting a lot of books that week and I have to drop one book, that would be the book I drop. Also, while you guys are here, don't forget to check out comicrelated.com, comicfrontline.com, and darkavengerinc.com. All 3 are your number 1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and more. If you haven't already subscribed to Dark Avenger Inc., please do. This way we're in your sub box and you don't miss out on a single video. If you like what you see on Comic Frontline and Comic Related, bookmark the pages because we update them daily. There's new content on the website 24/7, 7 days a week. More along the lines of the 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 24 hours a day, we don't have one every hour, but you guys get what I mean. And if you enjoy the review you see here and you're not already subscribed to my channel, If you like what you see, the sub button somewhere around this video or it's on my channel. Please click the sub button. This way I'm in your sub box and you don't miss out on a single review. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. This review was a day late, but that's due to a lot of Christmas stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Feel free to leave any comments in the comments below. Agree, disagree, questions, statements you would like to hear my reply on or Mike's reply on, and your comments will be heard this Friday on the weekly comic book haul. So guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys in the next review. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.